less per meal,
Yes.
and then more frequently.
Yep. It's effective. Niall wants to know about the Dreamcast. Specifically, the death of the Dreamcast.
All right, you get 3 cheese roll-ups.
Yep.
Put them in the disc case.
Yeah.
I was talking about the launch of the Dreamcast not 48 hours ago.
Okay.
Specifically, my trip to New York and all that stuff.
Okay. Well, let's bring it all home then with the end of that whole thing.
Yes.
Hey, Bombcast crew, I have a question about the death of the Dreamcast and Sega's exit from the console space. What was the series of events that led to that decision from Sega? And was the exit already rumored before it happened, or was it an actual surprise that came out of nowhere? I know that the Saturn was a bit of a boondoggle for them, and the PS2 stomped them pretty hard. But other than that, I don't really know what the atmosphere was. What the atmosphere was like around Sega at the time, and how shocking this news actually was. I wasn't following game news much back then, and now any coverage of the matter I can find only deals with the announcement and the aftermath, not the lead up. Any nuggets of info would be appreciated.
I remember Sega being dicey in the lead up to that announcement, like that there was just they all of a sudden didn't seem like they had their shit together the way they normally did.
Are you saying that as somebody on the inside who was working with them as a company?
Yeah,
okay.
Who was trying to contact them about upcoming games and stuff like that. Like there was just at some point the flow of software seemed to change, and their accessibility and ease to work with seemed just a little different.
Like they knew.
I don't know.
Somebody knew.
Yeah, I mean, sure, somebody knew.
Obviously, the atmosphere or the culture was probably changing.
But I think it was one of those things where also, like, the writing was starting to really hit the wall on that stuff for a couple of reasons. And it was just like the software wasn't selling, like it wasn't connecting with people the way that it should have been. Or would have been if the games were better, I guess, ultimately. It's like there was just some stuff coming out. You're like, I mean, there's some innovation here. There's some really interesting stuff, but it's just not, like, it's too weird still. They would innovate and put out, a big online game like Alien Front Online or something like that. And, it's like, here's this action game, this shooter and stuff like that. But like,
PSO.
It never got out there in a way that fit, with the other shooters. And it never just, they didn't market it at all. I don't remember if they even marketed it at all. They probably did. But, they just didn't seem like they had their shit together when it came to getting their games in front of people. And the PS2 was just fucking drilling it every chance it had, just on perception alone, even before the PS2 was out, like all people were talking about is how much they wanted a PS2. Yep. And
everybody's saying, I'm not getting the Dreamcast because I'm waiting for the PS2.
Yeah. And then, you had, I mean, there's a ton of factors. I mean, it's like weird to think about now, but like at that time, when EA said we're not making games for the Dreamcast, like Madden was a very big deal. And it's crazy to think because Sega went out and made a better fucking football game.
Oh, yeah.
But that didn't matter because they didn't have Madden. So you had people who were like, well, I'm waiting for the PS2 because I know that they're going to have Madden. And I think a lot of people that had that attitude were not super educated and did not follow games very closely. Otherwise, they would have known, like, that's ridiculous and this football game's actually better. But it's like, whatever, I need Madden. The same way, it's like, if 4 years ago or something, someone had said, like, oh, well, there's no Call of Duty on this platform. I would have been like, what? Well, fuck you. I'm not getting that. I was like, well, we got 9 other shooters. No? All right. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, there just seemed like there were some subtle, weird changes that, like, when they made that announcement, the extent of it was shocking, but not that shocking, I guess.
I mean, you were on the conference call, right?
I was, yeah.
Like, what was the language? So just like exiting.
It was Peter Moore saying, like,
console business.
We are effective. Oh man, I wish I don't know. I wonder if
there's
that
a recording out there somewhere. Yeah. Kind of want to hear that now.
I kind of want to hear if like my weird thing is part of that.
What? Did you ask a question?
No, I didn't. But so I know I've told this story.
I think I know where this is going.
But like, so Dan probably hasn't heard it at least. The day that they canceled the Dreamcast, I was home sick, and they said, we're having a conference call to talk about the future of the Dreamcast. And it was like ominous in a way. You're like, oh, like at that point, I think I want to say like the day before that or something, like it had gotten out a little bit, and retailers were like running from the fucking Dreamcast or whatever it was. But you kind of knew that something drastic was about to happen from just the tenor of things the past couple days. So I was home just stomach sick. So I was on the toilet doing what you do when your stomach's sick.
What's that?
Just emptying. It was making a goddamn mess. and listening to this conference call, which I had on a speakerphone in the other room and muted. And just at one point, they're at the end of the call, they took questions, like you do on an investor phone call, where you push the button and say your name when you connect to the call, so they know who's who, and then you push a button saying you have a question. And at some point, they just go, Jeff Gersman from VideoGames.com, you have a question? Or I guess we were actually just GameSpot at that point. We were all merged in, I think. And there I am sitting on the toilet, and another room's going. And I just stayed deadly silent. I knew the phone was muted, but I was like, hello, and then went on to the next call. But I was just like, yeah, I don't know. That's how I remember the cancellation of the Dreamcast.
That's fitting.
That's great. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it's like, so it's, the story of the launch of the Dreamcast was super weird for me. The cancellation was super weird for me.
What was that 02? 01?
Yeah.
One or the other.
I think they made it to maybe 02.
That sounds right. I think it was early in the year.
Also, piracy had become a real problem for them.
You're right.
That was the other.
That was the arc of the Dreamcast for me. I was still in college, or toward the end, I guess. But because it launched $9.99 was the thing.
Yep.
I had multiple friends who went to the local mall and stood in line and got that thing at midnight and came back, and we all played Soul Calibur and drank shitty beer and had our minds blown. You know?
Yeah.
At the time, it seemed like a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing it in
the launch of it was a big deal.
It seemed like shit. They moved hardware. They turned this into an event. People went and lined up for it, and it looks amazing. This is going to be something.
And they got a spot on Good Morning America.
Yeah, sure. But then, over time, I remember toward the end, as I was close to graduation and coming out here and stuff, half my friends just had binders full of CDRs.
Yeah,
because that was the point where you didn't even have you didn't have to mod the thing.
There was no boot disk or anything.
Yeah.
It was just literally just directly
download stripped images of games and burn it and play it. And I was just like, oh my god, this thing got pirated so fucking bad.
Yeah, and so that spooked a lot of the third parties, and the third party support wasn't outstanding,
right?
So we never saw Pen Triathlon 2, which is this real unfortunate.
So you don't think it was a hardware install based thing so much as just the games weren't moving?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think that the hardware didn't catch on at the rate that it maybe should have for as cool of a system that was out of the gate.
Yeah.
I think the software didn't always hold up its end of the bargain, especially some of the third party stuff. And I think to some extent tastes were changing. The quirky stuff that was coming out of the Dreamcast is it's amazing because it's stuff that just Tokyo Bus Guide coming out in Japan and just going and getting all this freaky shit, importing stuff and all that was just amazing. But the people wanted Madden, and that was on PS2. Namco never really got truly serious about the Dreamcast.
Launch Soul Calibur.
Yeah, I mean Soul Calibur is as serious as it gets, I guess.
Yeah,
that's still one of the marquee games, but they were never really there fully. It felt like.
Was there ever a Tekken?
No.
That was the
that's right.
Fucking fucked up thing that happened as I was on whatever GameSpot TV talking to Sessler around the time of the Dreamcast launch, and I said I would really like to see a Tekken game on this system, and then that got translated into Japanese. And then when it aired in Japan, it said, I can't, basically it was me saying that there was a Tekken game coming. So then Japan reported that we have word that a Tekken game's coming to the Dreamcast.
Wow.
And then by the time it all got debunked, it was everyone's an idiot. Everyone in this whole chain of events is super dumb.
Wow.
Jeff, your words.
Because it got back to me and I was like, fucking awesome, they're making a Tekken. Oh, it's fucking great. I was just saying how they should do that.
Yeah.
I remember being so disappointed when I brought my Dreamcast home on launch day, which I won on a bet, which is great. On launch day, I won a bet and won a Dreamcast. But I assumed...
Well, hang on. What was the bet?
It's real stupid. My mom...
No.
It was... It was whatever the Sunday was before the launch day of $9.99, and I wanted the Dreamcast, but I didn't have the money. And my mom was upstairs, and I was downstairs.
$92.99 maybe? Or the Sunday before. Okay, never mind.
Whatever it was. Yeah, and my mom was like, what channel is the Chiefs game on? Because I was starting to watch it downstairs. It was the first quarter. I was like, oh, it's on CBS. And she's like, nah, that's not right. It's got to be on NBC. I was like, no, I've got it on down here. It's on CBS. I see the little eye logo here. She's like, that's not right. I'll bet you anything. I was like, all right. Dreamcast is coming out in a couple days. How about if it's on CBS, you buy me Dreamcast on launch day? If not, I'll do chores for free for 3 months because I knew I was right. She's like, you're on. And so I told her to come downstairs, and she saw the CBS logo, and she's like, all right, I guess I got to buy you a Dreamcast.
Hell.
Yeah, and so I got it, and I got
Man.
NFL 2K, Ready to Rumble Boxing, Soul Calibur, and Sonic Adventure.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you
Merry
did you ever did you get the re-release of Ready to Rumble that had the little sticker on it so it didn't have the audio bug?
I don't think so.
So there was a problem with the
yeah.
first run of games where
That's
there would be
right.
like an audio
right.
issue
Yeah, I remember that.
that they ended up re-releasing.
More
some of those
importantly,
games.
do your chores.
no, because I won the bet.
He won the bet.
Yeah,
The
but
bet was if I lost, I
that
had to do the
doesn't
chores.
absolve you from responsibility of doing your chores.
No, I had Soul Calibur. I didn't need chores.
Man.
I didn't need money. But I was so bummed out because, like, having not been a PC gamer ever, I had never been able to play games online. And it always sounded like the most fascinating thing in the world to me. I remember, like, trying to install Half-Life and so I could play Team Fortress because it sounded like the coolest thing in the world. And just nothing worked because I don't even think we had the internet back then. So finally...
that would do it.
Yeah. Which I remember going to DOS and the C:\\. I remember seeing commercials for Zoop on Super Nintendo,
Yep.
that puzzle game, and being like, hey, you can play a demo of Zoop right now if you go to zoop.com. And I was like, I can play this game for free. And so I would go to the C prompt on DOS and be like, www.zoop.com, and be like, file directory not found. It's like, I'm going to kids at school would be like, I know how to hack onto the internet. And I'd be like, oh, I can figure this out. So I got the C: thing. I'll figure out how to hack into it and play Zoop. But where the hell was I going with all that? It was,
Did you ever finally play Zoop and go, oh man?
I bought Zoop at Blockbuster. They had a used, like, after PlayStation already came out, I bought it
Yeah.
for like $5 and never played it much. But, God, where the hell was I going? Yeah, so I always want to play online games, and I was reading an AGM and everything that, like, yeah, the Dreamcast is going to be ready for online, you know, right out of the gate. And I was like, oh, awesome, I finally get to play these games. And I was so hyped for Soul Calibur, and it delivered. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But I would see these reviews that are like 10 out of 10 from EGM. Like, oh, the whole review crew said 10 out of 10. And so I got it, and I just assumed I was going to be able to play it online right away. So I get home, I just put my Dreamcast down, not knowing anything about the internet, and I just took the 56K, the phone thing or whatever, just plugged it into my Dreamcast. I'm like going through the menus, like, all right, do I go into Versus to play online? And turns out you have to, like, you know, build a game to play online. It's not just
Weird.
a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
So
It's not like the X-Band.
Sega Channel.
Yeah.
I think it had the modem built in, right?
Yeah. It was at a
it
56K.
was removable, but yes.
Okay, but you didn't have to buy it separately,
Nope.
right?
No.
Okay.
Remember the GameCube had some separate thing. Like, I guess you could technically play Mario Kart Double Dash through a modem thing.
Yeah, you could
they had a
slap
Phantasy Star
you could
or
slap
something?
a broadband adapter like Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah, I remember
Episode 3, the card battling game.
Yeah, I remember selling those at GameStop. Just like, why the fuck is this? Like, I didn't even know games it worked for.
Yeah, the Dreamcast was kind of a special system,
It was.
I was thinking.
and we likely shall not see its like again. It just seems too weird in retrospect.
Yeah,
You know?
like games are weird in a different way now.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you see some of that spirit, but a lot of it is just, you know, independent games coming out of the PC
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Well, and now consoles too. But
You're not seeing a lot of space channels and jet grinds anymore.
Right, and
Samba de Amigos.
Shoot you rockets and Seamans.
well,
and
we're
like,
seeing, you know, like was it Curse the Necro Dancer?
Yeah,
or whatever.
sure,
You know, it's like
sure.
there's like Hohokam.
But even a lot of that
Hohokam
stuff
exists.
Even
you know?
even a lot of that stuff hews a little more closely to establish kind of rule sets and stuff.
I think
You know,
you're
it's
right.
like it's a rhythm game and a roguelike, but those are still things that you know. As opposed to like Seaman, like what the fuck was
Seaman
that?
was awesome. I loved Seaman.
Where did stuff like that come from? Like
Wherever Gang Beast
all
came
these,
from.
yeah. Gang Beast is like kind of an example of like not in my wildest dreams could I have envisioned a game like this, and yet here it is.
I still would put it to you that I think that, like, you're right on like an individual case by case level, but I think like today, right now, games have never been better.
Yeah, you're right.
The
No,
offering has never been
there are
richer.
Yeah,
and
more and better and more varied games. You're
Yeah.
totally right. I mean, also part of it was that there was such a unified like corporate backing to this thing. You know, like to see a giant corporation make this system,
Yeah.
and put that kind of oomph behind it, like that. You know, you're going to see it iterated on by like little indie studios over and over.
Right,
But
right.
To see one big publisher, you know, putting that much money behind it, it's kind of insane.
Sega was always a weird fucking company.
Yeah.
You know, they made their arcade transition. They did their stuff. You know, it was just they were always crazy.
Yep. Nice. Belly up to the mic next time you do that.